And under the water and so on and so forth. And it took until about 3 a.m., this was almost 3 hours, before everything was clear, before we got a go-ahead from him. When he gave us the go-ahead, I stood at that bundle and I pushed it slowly into the water. And at the speed that I pushed it into the water was the same speed that it started crossing the water. And we watched it crossing the water until we could no longer see it. And then we got an okay from him. He said, "See you later."
Oh, my God.
The crew piled in Far Out's rental car, relieved to pass off the weed, when the danger they'd been evading for 1,000 miles zeroed in on them. The Mexican Policia.
We come to an intersection. It's hard to tell how the intersection was defined, but we could tell it was an intersection. We were not yet at the town, and there was a big, I can't tell what it was hanging from, but there was a traffic light in the middle of this intersection where nobody was there, and, you know, and also it's 3 a.m, so we come up to this intersection, and the traffic light is red. So we stopped, and as we stopped, I noticed about 30 feet in front of us, there's a cop. It's like a municipal cop standing there, which is, I can't understand this. It's 3 a.m. He's a municipal cop. There's no civilization in this area at all. What's he doing here? And why is he here? And what's a cop doing here? But the fact that, you know, I mean, we were foreigners and we were guilty, and so it was hard to think straight. And as I see this cop, I made the mistake of looking directly at him, and so our eyes met. This all happened real fast. And as our eyes met, he did this.
He beckoned to you.
Yeah,
yes.
So we had no choice but to approach him. And he took us into town, and he confiscated the car. I can't remember the details of this.
God.
They confiscated, this was all underhanded, this wasn't legitimate, but they're in charge.
Right.
He confiscated the car, and he said we could come back tomorrow morning to the police station and pay our fine and retrieve our car.
Now, Far Out doesn't know why the car was confiscated. Regardless, now they had to pay a fine. But, unfortunately, all their money was in the impounded car.
Well, the problem was that while we were conducting our business, I put my wallet under the front seat of the car. What we had to do tomorrow morning was pay a 100 peso fine, but the 100 pesos was below the front seat of my car. We went early that morning. We climbed over the cyclone fence of where the car was confined.
Whoa.
And I went into my car, and I got the wallet from under the front seat, and then we climbed out, and then we went to the police station and paid them 100 pesos, and they went and released my car.
Ugh, disorganized crime for sure. Meanwhile, the Texas crew drove the cube of pot from the Rio Grande to the San Francisco Bay Area. Far Out drives back to Monterrey, Mexico, and flies back to San Francisco to help them with the distribution.
And we opened the pot, and one of the 50-pound bundles leaked and got wet.
That's it?
That was it.
Incredible.
Being a local pot dealer and music manager rather than a smuggler, Far Out had never done something this daring and dangerous, and he never would again. Far Out preferred dealing small amounts of pot to his regular customers in town over the intense adrenaline rush of smuggling large quantities over borders, supporting my theory that my parents are adrenaline junkies. My meeting with Far Out ended with him reminiscing about his great love for my mom's best friend, who recently passed away. Far Out expressed surprise that my dad, of all the people around Mom's best friend's psychedelic table, had been the one to call him to share the sad news of Mom's best friend passing. An icon of San Francisco's psychedelic history, Far Out has been a pot dealer for almost 60 years, along with his career managing global rock bands. I can't tell you who, but it's giant, like the biggest. Now, this reminds me, it's always good to have a side hustle in order to generate multiple income streams. And in this unprecedented pandemic, full of immense, devastating job loss, cultivating side revenue hustles is a valuable idea. I'm not saying we should all become pot dealers, but maybe toilet paper dealers. I do hear there's a black market for it now, and I'm totally serious about this. There's a black market for toilet paper. We should all become toilet paper dealers. Stay safe out there. Wash your hands. Don't touch your eyeballs. I'm Rainbow Valentine, and this is Disorganized Crime, Smuggler's Daughter. Disorganized Crime, Smuggler's Daughter is written and recorded by me, Rainbow Valentine. Our producers are Gabby Watts and Taylor Church. Executive producers are Brandon Barr, Brian Lavin, Elsie Crowley, and me at School of Humans, and Connell Byrne and Charles Bryant at iHeartRadio. Our music is by Gabby Lala and Claire Campbell, with original theme by Mark Karen and me. You can follow us online at disorganizedcrimepodcast.com.
Writing our own story, doing as we please. Tamalpais, sleeping princess of the redwood trees. She helps us keep it real. A handshake seals the deal. Grab the stash, seal the meal, and load up these old wheels. Rolling a doobie, young, rich, and groovy. Making it up.